This week's episode was recorded live and in person at the 2025 United Rally. Boy, did we have fun. But before we get too deep into it, let's jump into this week's RV Shenanigans podcast. Welcome back to the RV Shenanigans podcast. My name is Ryan, and along with my wife, Lauren, we are Millers in Motion. We're excited to bring you this episode today because we were able to record this episode as well as next week's episode as one of the panels. So this panel was comprised of the Airstreamer, Life in the Slow Lane, Let's Turn It Up World, Sweet Travels, Our Everyday Getaway, Over the Hill Adventures, and Switch It Up. If you did attend United Rally, you already know what's going to happen, but you can relive some of that fun and excitement that we shared talking all things. This week, we also talk a little bit about YouTube. We talk a lot about Alaska and how some of these different YouTube channels travel. In addition, we had some great questions from the audience. So please enjoy this live recorded episode from the United Rally. All right, so we have a couple of little kind of basic topics we're going to cover. In this, answer some questions. If you have some YouTube questions, we can hit those as well. But I'm going to open this whole thing up as just an open question. So whoever wants to answer this, feel free to jump in. What was the absolute worst non-documented travel incident you had with your RV? Means it has not hit a YouTube channel, Instagram, nothing. I guess I need to unmute him.
I think I'll let Dave. Hallelujah. Okay. Hallelujah. Let Dave take this.
Oh, sure. She gives this one to me. Let's see. So the worst undocumented event in an RV. This one, we rented an RV. It was actually a Winnebago View, and when we picked it up, we were assured that we were the first ones in this one. No one had been in it, and so we're excited. And and for those who know, we have a cassette toilet in our rig, and so this is one of the first times we've really had a black tank. So I was excited to kind of give the black tank a try. Said no one except me. But anyway, so we were in it for a while, and then I had to empty it. And so we're at an RV park, and when I went inside, I noticed that it seemed like the valve wasn't completely in all the way, the normal valve. And it was in like maybe 2/3 of the way, so I thought, oh, maybe this is just how far it goes. This is how far it goes in. And that was just a huge mistake. And so I wasn't really thinking too much about it. I assumed it was actually in all the way because, hey, no one else had been in this thing. And so I went down and I unscrewed the bottom cap. Yeah. And, well, as you could imagine, I had someone else's poop all over me very quickly. And and I got to tell you, yeah, I mean, skunks smell bad, but I smelled worse. And I showered, and I still smelled. It took a long time to get that out of me. And, unfortunately, I was, Tanya, we couldn't really snuggle up that night. Get in the front of the rig. So, unfortunately, we didn't film that, but that was definitely a fun event.
Anybody else got one?
But were you wearing gloves?
You got it? One more click.
Now?
Hey, there you go.
So since we're talking about crappy subjects, this is undocumented. And so we were at Bolsa Chica Beach in California, and this is the first time in our trailer and this would be our our bumper pull. It was the first time I was going to do the black tank. And I was so nervous because I didn't want to be like that RV movie where the poop went spraying all over like a volcano. So I wanted to make sure that when I hit the dump station that nobody was there. So if in case anything were to happen, I would be the clear. But So we get up to the dump station. I'm all fancy, doing it all real quick, like I know what I'm doing. Pull out my sewer hose, get it all connected, and then I do the big pull. And then nothing happens. And I go, what on earth? Why is it not coming out? And I'm going, honey, I just don't know. So I go and I'm going to go check the hose. So I decided to disconnect the hose. Come to find out that I forgot to take out the new plugs in the sewer hose. So being the fact that it was a new RV and it was just our poop that was in there, and well, actually, I call it chocolate squirrel. So we got introduced to chocolate squirrel pretty quick, and so like I said, undocumented. But what I would say is that the Viterra, the new, what is the Valterra gate valve is a must in every situation. So make sure, even if you're renting it, bring it in your suitcase or whatever, and just bring it with you, because inevitably you're going to meet chocolate squirrel. All right, that's it.
Anybody else got one?
Yeah, I think I have one for you. A couple of months ago, Anna and I were in Branson, Missouri, and we have a tendency to trust our GPS a little too much. We have the Garmin GPS. A lot of us have it. You know, you put in your length, your weight, your height, and it's supposed to keep you on the right street. Well, for the most part, they get it right. But what we have learned is when you get into the community that you're going to, they seldom get it right. Turn right, turn left. It'll tell you to turn right, and your destination is on the left. You can clearly see it. Well, anyways, we're driving through town, bumping along, and I'm telling Nana, I said, you know what, this just doesn't look right. I don't like where we're at. It tells me to turn right. I look right. That's kind of like a residential area, not where a campground should be. So I look at her, she looks at me, and we say, what do you think? She says, we'll make the turn. So I make the turn. We get halfway down the street. Now I know we're in trouble, because now I'm supposed to turn left. And this is like the streets of San Francisco. I mean, we're going up and down to the point where the back of the trailer is starting to drag when I hit the bottom and need to go back up. So now I'm looking for a way out. I can't turn left and I can't turn right on all these other streets. Every other street is a one-way street, which even makes it worse. So we're heading down this street, and I see an out on the left, and I want to turn left, but I can't, because the angle of the street and the turn is so sharp that I told her, I think the trailer would tip over if I hang a left here. I really do. And maybe if I go really, really fast, no. No, let's not do that. So I back out of the turn, and I got it straight. And I continue to drive down this street, the only street that I can be on, and I see an out up in front of us. So I keep driving to it, and I'm driving to it, and the streets are getting smaller and smaller. And now I have cars parked on both sides. I have about 3 feet on the driver's side, about 3 feet on the passenger side. And I say, oh, there's that cross street. I can get down there and I can turn out and get out of this thing, right? Nope, it's a dead end. It's a dead end. And the GPS says go straight. So, you know, when you're out on the road, you need a couple of GPSs besides the Garmin. So we run, what is that other one now we're running? Google. Yeah, we use a couple of them now so that doesn't happen to us. So now I'm stuck at the end of this street with nowhere to go but back in a 63-foot-long rig that weighs 43,000 pounds. So take a deep breath and start backing up, right? I backed up. How far? Okay, I don't want to exaggerate, Anna. Tell them, how far did I back up?
At least a quarter mile.
So I backed up on the street a quarter of a mile before I could find a place that I wanted to turn out. But before that happened, people are getting mad at me that live on both sides because they can't get out of their driveways. not only can they not get out of their driveways, but they can't even get off the street because they're in front of me.
There was a lady trying to pull out. She was screaming at us because she couldn't get her car out. We're trying to back up.
So I got people on both sides mad at me because I'm there. I got a guy behind me that doesn't want to back up, and I have to go back to and explain to him why he has to back up. So we finally worked it out. Anyways, after backing up a quarter of a mile and finally making that turn and getting out of there, we took a deep breath and said,
Well, we were out of gas at that point.
you know, it just keeps getting better. I forgot about that, you know, because we go rolling into town, and I tell Anna, I said, we can make it to our camp spot. This is no problem. But when you get lost and you're on these streets and you're going up and down and you use more fuel, and I don't know where my fuel pickup is. Is it in the front of the tank, the back of the tank? Am I going to run out of gas going up and down these hills? So anyways, we get out of there, and then I get back on the main street. Now I need gas. Well, where do you get gas in a 63-foot-long rig in Branson, Missouri? There's no place to go. So I find a parking lot. I drop the trailer. I go to a gas station. I put in 50 gallons. I come back and hook up the trailer, and we finally make it to our spot. What about 2 or 3 hours late?
About a couple hours later, and he wouldn't let me film any of this. I tried, ladies and gentlemen. He would not let me.
Well, you know, sometimes it would have been great. I can just see it right now. She sets the camera off on one of the side streets, and you see this rig backing up, right? I can just picture it. I know it would have been great, but, you know, at the time, it just didn't feel right. So that's our little horror story for now.
Anybody else got one?
I'll give one. Todd and Sheila are real familiar with this one.
Please tell me it's about Todd.
It is.
Perfect.
No, it's not. We shared that this was his story to tell.
So we're at the Tampa RV show together. We're parked at the fairgrounds, and if any of you have been to fairground parking, your sewer can be over there, and your water's over there, and your electric's behind you. So we had a great time with Todd and Sheila at the show. Kelly and I are going to mad dash to courtside as soon as the show is over. So I told Kelly, I said, let's go out and let's dump the tanks and get everything flushed out so we can leave early. Okay. So I pull my sewer hose out, hook it up. I'm 10 foot short. This is not a crap story, by the way. So I told Kel, I said, all right, let's go ahead and hook up and pull forward, and so the sewer hose can reach, and we'll just get this all taken care of. So she comes out. She's a great spotter, by the way. She comes out. I get hooked up, back into the hitch, pull up the jacks. 10 feet. That's all I got to go. 10 feet. I pull the truck forward. Crash. Guess what we forgot to do? The tug test. The nose of our brand new fifth wheel comes down and hits the truck. About the same time as I heard the crash, Todd's running out of his rig. What the heck happened? You remember that? Not document. In fact, I wouldn't even document that for 6 weeks. I was so embarrassed.
It was heartbreaking. And that is why most of our videos, when we're back and, we're hooking up, I always say, don't forget the tug test. Don't do what we did. Check it every time, even if it's 10 feet.
And what did I say? Never going back to Tampa?
The funny part is that Jason, who's running around with a camera right now, was sitting in the rig. Yeah. We're sitting in the rig, and next door, and it was the loudest thing. And I saw Kelly's face and how just distraught. And the thing about being in YouTube, like we do carry cameras around, like you just shared, like that. There's sometimes you don't want to film, and it would have been a 1 million view video. It would have been, because people would have wanted, like they would want to see it. And I looked at Jim and I said, none of us are shooting video, because out of respect of being in that moment, that it was hurt. It hurt like our hearts to see their rig damaged and to know that it was going to be okay and stuff. So we joke about it now because it's easy, but I could see Kelly's face and how like it really hurt. It was a hurtful moment. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. It was devastating.
Yeah.
Especially with it brand new and everything, and we were so excited, and then we had to get the tape out and tape the sucker because there was a big hole and it was wet, the weather, and then we had to go through a snowstorm to get to Elk City, Oklahoma, which is why we always say stay south of I-10, don't go north of I-10 because you hit the snow. And we had one hell of a snowstorm, ice storm. And we had our friends with us, and we said, don't follow us. But they did, thank goodness. But always do a tug test, please. Don't forget it. It's so important because you just never know when that sucker's going to come down and big it.
I feel like we've talked a lot about destruction and poop. A lot.
That's part of it.
It is part of it, exactly. So with that being said, I do have a question specifically for Chris and Katrina, because you guys went to this place that can literally destroy a rig if you do it wrong. And if you don't mind, because you guys did it in a way that I think people is becoming more common now, as far as like getting the tap the button.
Okay. You talked about Alaska.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was trying to let you talk about it, but
yeah.
but you guys took measures a step further than just retrofitting your RV to make it okay to go. You guys full on just said.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we have a 39-foot Class A diesel pusher, and we decided to go to Alaska. We were invited by some friends of ours. Well, I'd heard all the horror stories, what could happen. We decided to get a smaller rig, so we got a Class C Winnebago Trend. No slides, nothing. We figured without the slides, no jacks, we're cutting back on the chances something could go wrong. So we took the smaller rig and we went up to Alaska, and actually it was fantastic. And we really had no problems, no issues, a few dinks and dents here and there.
Except when the heat went out, we had no heat up there for a while.
In Alaska?
I don't think that was a big deal. That wasn't a big deal. It was all good. It was fine. It was fine. It was okay. But no, now that we've been up there and we experienced it and we met folks who drove up there in your larger Class A diesel pushers, your fifth wheels, we realized that in hindsight, we could have taken the Class A up there if we wanted to. It would have been fine. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of folks make it out to be. And I think a lot of it comes down to just taking your time and you're going to be okay. But the one thing that was nice about taking the small rig was we just had the ability to go anywhere. And we could just pull over at all these great, fantastic spots in boondock. So that worked out. In hindsight, I think it worked out and ended up being a better thing because it would have been a little bit more difficult to find those sweet boondocking spots with a larger rig. But yeah, it worked out great.
Did you hit any spots where you said, ooh, there's no way with the Class A? Or even with the little one where you just said, you know what, that's too far for us?
Nothing that I can remember. Anything you can remember?
I think some of the boondocking spots would have been tight for the larger rig, And again, we were also very fortunate because the couple that we traveled with, he was an RV tech. So he fixed anything. That
so
we
y'all
had a problem.
cheated. You full on cheated.
It worked out. It worked out fine.
He happened to have a board when our heat went out. I mean, it was just.
So yeah, I mean, I think once again, I think it's nice to take the smaller rig up there, but if you have a larger rig and you're thinking about it, and you're hesitant because it's a larger rig, it can be done. It can be done.
So I just randomly, because there's two specific couples on here that I would imagine probably wouldn't want to take their rig for slightly different reasons. So I want to know from Todd, Sheila, and Airstream, would you guys consider taking your current setups to Alaska? Because I can imagine potentially getting any damage on the Airstream sounds terrifying. And, well, Todd, you guys are huge.
What do you think?
Well, their friends had an Airstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine.
Right. Actually, I think we would take the Airstream up there without any issue. Might want to put the 3-inch lift kit on it. But actually, I think our setup right now, we would be fine. We've been in some pretty dicey situations with it, and some mountain stuff. And actually, the worst was going through Shreveport, Louisiana, kind of on the way here. But that was probably the worst. So yeah, we would take the Airstream up there for sure.
I mean, we were at one campground, and a fellow had a Prevost up there. No problems, no issues. And we would talk to some of the other RVers that had the larger rigs, and we asked them, "You guys have any problems?" And almost every one of them said, "No problems at all." As long as when you get to the bad spots, just slow down and take it easy. Another thing to keep in mind is a lot of times the traffic coming the other way, especially the truckers, don't care. So they're just blowing through.
Well, especially on gravel roads, they kick stuff up at you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Todd, Sheila, would you guys take the Big Mama up there?
Absolutely not. No, I think we could do a rig swap with Dave and Tanya, and then they can stay in Emerald City in our big rig, and we'll take your Echo and go.
And we'll never come back.
I would actually I think that could be a great video. Let Dave drive it. I just want to see that.
Yeah. Rig swap, yeah.
But the wives have to drive.
You'll hide it, yeah. The thing is, I've watched a number of your videos, like people going to Alaska. It's like, we don't have any desire to make the drive. I know it sounds goofy for RV life, but we have the desire to probably fly up, rent something, and then go tour around, and then fly back. Because that journey going up and stuff, I guess. And there's another thing that we don't know, and I don't know, Jim, you might know this, but I don't know. We've been told once you cross the Canadian border that we're a non-commercial CDL driver. I'm a non-commercial Class A. And I think once you go into Canada, and I don't know, I think you have to have an air endorsement, which means no, you don't. Well, when we pull up, would they not question, like, wait a minute, this looks like a semi. No, you don't think so? Have you done it? So they didn't question whether you had, okay, well then, we're still not doing it. I was looking for an excuse.
You know, I can understand somebody not wanting to make the drive, but if you enjoy that part of RV life, if you do, drive, I'm telling you all, the drive is memorable. And God speaks to you when you make that drive and you see what you see. I'm telling you, I'm serious, and it's a beautiful drive. I'm glad I did it. I would never do it again. I would fly into Alaska and do a cruise. But as far as the drive, I'm glad I did it because it's some great memories.
You crossed it off your bucket list, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So Kelly and I have made that trip 13 times. The roads in New Mexico are worse than the Alaskan.
I think if you can drive on Route 40 here, you can do Alaska.
Yeah. Don't let all the negative stuff, prevent you from going up there because it's not as bad as people make it out to be.
So, just by show of hands out in the audience, who has been up to Alaska in their RV and who hasn't? Okay, so just... Sorry. Who has been up to Alaska? Let's go with that one. Okay, so not as many. Who wants to go to Alaska in their rig? Who has a rig now that they would take to Alaska? What are you waiting on? Yeah, we're here.
Talk to No Sticks, No Bricks. They're doing a 2026 caravan. They can only take 10 people or so, but...
When's the Fairbanks huddle?
No.
I'm curious on the other direction. I like the heat. How many people have been to Baja?
Yeah, that's a great question. Has anybody up here been to Baja?
You guys can't. I know. That is
another rig swap situation in it.
But that's more of an issue for the commercial.
Yeah.
So, does anybody, and just for the audience, be thinking of questions because we're getting to that point where this is about to open up. So we want you to come up here and ask these guys some questions too. But does anybody have any bucket list destinations that they are absolutely got to do in the next, let's say, handful of years?
Well, we did one I thought was really enjoyable for us. Is we did a month in Japan in an RV, and we started in the Northern Islands, did a bit of winter camping, and went through Tokyo and a bunch of different spots. And we've done Iceland in a camper van around the Golden Circle and Ring Road. So we hit a lot of places. And one of the biggest things with us is we've always been nimble boondockers, which is why we have the size rig that we have. We've always loved winter camping, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen those videos. We like it, so we don't mind the cold. We don't mind the challenge. And I think the biggest thing is you have to feel really comfortable with the rig that you're in. Regardless of what anybody says or does, you have to be comfortable, both of you, the women and the men, because if something happens to him, you want to make sure you know how to drive that thing yourself and not have to learn how to drive it quickly in a rough situation. At least just have a familiarity. But yeah. So.
If anybody out there wanted to do it, do you have any like quick tips as far as like renting or just the process of actually doing that?
For
just going international and renting an RV and doing that, like just the big stuff, like
yes,
I didn't know that.
That'll be coming up in the seminar, so make sure you join. Everybody attending, we'll see you then. Thank you.
Good job. Nice plug. Nice plug. Good
right.
job.
Does anybody else have any bucket lists?
Yeah, would be the Albuquerque Balloon Festival. It would be the 5 in Utah, the 5 parks, and it would be the Bourbon Trail, which. Yeah, I'm so giddy up. I could go on the Bourbon Trail, I could do that. But there was, I think that's pretty much, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I don't know the Bourbon Trail could handle you being Mike.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Anybody else bucket list stuff?
Is that in an RV or no?
Well, if you have a non-RV one, go for it. I said RV, but do you have a non-RV bucket list? You have a microphone too.
A big bucket list, things outside the RV.
Use the mic.
Oh. Yes, I have a big bucket list of things outside the RV. I like weird things. And Sheila's like, I'm not doing that one. So like there's this place that's the furthest north point in America, which is towards the North Pole. So you fly up and then you have to take a truck and go stand on a glacier in the middle of nowhere to hit the pole. I want to see the actual North Pole. She doesn't want to do that one. Yeah.
Just to meet Santa Claus, right? That's all you wanted to do it for?
And then if anyone's interested, I want to take, like I've done this trip on the Amazon River where you get on a boat and you live on the boat on the Amazon River on the top deck. Sheila's like, I'm not doing that. So it might be a man's trip. So if anyone wants to go on an Amazon trip with me, you can do that.
The reason why I'm not going? No. Where they take a shower
on the Amazon.
In the Amazon.
Yeah,
is the same water that you flush your black tank stuff in and it just recirculates. No. Thank you.
It's a man's trip. If you want to swim.
Well, for ladies, I actually did something I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
I did 2 weeks in Antarctica. So you fly into Ushuaia, Argentina, you do the Drake's Passage, and then you come out, you take the Zodiacs, and it's an amazing experience. It's cold, but the summer times are nothing different than the winter times here. 30 degrees, whatever, 20-something degrees, and as long as you're prepared for it, I think the experiences and being able to see the penguins and learn about the wildlife, and I'm an official ambassador because I got a stamp over there, so I'm feeling pretty good. Thank you very much. So that's a bucket
Does
list
that mean diplomatic community here now, or no?
You're dealing with Tanya. So yeah.
Does anybody else have any bucket list stuff? I guess non-RV is a thing now too.
Yeah, we were just talking about it, and one of our bucket lists for a long time has been the Pacific Northwest. And and in fact, we just got confirmed yesterday and today. One of the things, I don't know if this life is not less expensive than living in a sticks and bricks. And we figured that out pretty quick. So we've decided to do quite a bit of work camping. And actually, that's to fulfill our dream of the Pacific Northwest. We just got hired in to be one of the people working at Crater Lake National Park. So we're going to be there actually pretty much this whole summer. So that'll fill that in for us.
And now, everyone, I think you can, if you're going to film in those places, you're able to film in those places again.
Right.
So welcome back to National Park Filming.
Yeah, the Explore Act passed. That was a big thing because I do photography work too, and professional photography work and have a channel on that. And that's been a big thing with me about the national parks, and we've been avoiding national parks. And now with the Explore Act being passed, now that frees it up for small creators, as long as you're not a movie studio, under 6.
Sorry, Todd and Sheila.
What?
Movie studios aren't allowed.
Sheila, were you going to say something?
I was just I didn't know you were gonna be there. We're bringing a huddle to the Crater Lake this summer, so we'll come and see you.
Great.
So I'm going to ask one more question, but do me a favor. If you have questions, if you want to start thinking about maybe coming up to the mic as they kind of wrap up mine, we're going to start transitioning. So we want to make sure that these guys can answer any questions you guys have as well. With all these bucket list trips and stuff we're talking about, is there anything in the RV itself, besides buying a new one, that you would like to have, like tech or anything else that happens to be in the RV that you think is crucial for the trip? Like, was there anything for Alaska besides a new RV that you're like, we need to have this?
We should have had heated floors. I'm just saying, it's cold.
You can't boondock with heated floors.
Why?
It runs too much power. Sorry.
Or you get more power.
You have to run the generator.
I would say Starlink, in my experience,
Starlink.
to be able to just pull over in spots where there's no cell and you just fire up to Starlink and you're good to go.
Does anybody have... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
We were prepping for our Alaska trip this summer, and in doing so, one of the things that we needed to do was raise the bottom of our RV because it did sit quite low to the ground, and we were worried about those frost thieves. So he took the rig in to have the jacks lifted, and he had the more right independent suspension drop so that it would allow more ground clearance. So that was something that we had to do and have done in order to prep for that trip.
So that actually brings a good point, because is there anything that you wish you have for when you travel around the country on your rigs? For the actual travel side of it, like if you have a trailer like an independent suspension, or if you have a motorhome air ride, more stuff. I don't know much about motorhomes. Does anybody have anything? By the way, I'm coming to questions soon, so if somebody wants to come up here.
Yeah, I would like to see the production companies that make production coaches, not custom, but production, put in mini splits. That would be less energy, more comfort, less power.
Okay, I need to address the mini split situation. We love the mini splits on AC mode. The mini splits, give you an idea, we have 30.3 kilowatts on solar. So it's 8 300 amp hour lithium batteries, okay? Running heat, no bueno. Give you an idea. We can run the ACs on mini splits for like 3 days, no problem, keep it cool. You fire up the heater on a mini split and 7 hours, dead. So they consume more energy, I believe, on the side when you're using them on the heat capacity, and they run nonstop. And so Sheila, there's been times where she's like, I don't know if I like this. It just feels cold. And so I think if you're going to go that route, the AquaHot system, and you're trying to get away from using a lot of the propane and stuff, AquaHot running a diesel and then that running that whole heating system might be a better way for the heat component. And then running, then you're always trying to run little, heaters, electrical heaters. Well, that just sucks more juice as well. So we do have heated floors in a certain part of it, but when we set it up, I just don't know if the mini split, sorry, long answer, but I don't know if the mini split works great for heat. That's just been thought process. AC is absolutely lights out.
Quiet, it's quiet, less space on the roof. Like there's a lot of value there, less energy, and for days, I bet it's more than 3 days that we could go. But the heat, not sure we love that solution.
Just a different perspective. We didn't know that until we put it in.
Has any of you all looked at possibly doing the Furion Cube, which is kind of like that in between with the variable compressor? Okay, well, we had it on our coach we just sold, so if you have questions, not really my panel, but so it was actually great. So it's a variable compressor, so it's designed like a mini split, but it's roof mounted in more of a traditional RV sense. And so what it does is the fan, I think they said they rated the fan to run consistently for like 15 years or something like that. Sales sheet stuff, so who actually knows? But for us, because we had a pretty robust solar system on the rig, it did a great job. It actually cooled. So if they make the equivalent over to like the Colemans, it essentially was about an 18K per unit, and we had all three of them. Now we had to do non-ducted because at the time we were testing it, they didn't have it ducted, which they do now. We tested it in August in Texas. It was 105 degrees outside, and right before we put them on, we had Reflectix in all of our windows, the things we do, right? Reflectix in all the windows. We had a toy hauler, so the ramp door was up. We did everything to keep heat out the best we could. And we would get to about 82 in the rig, give or take, at the kind of prime of the day if you're full sun. So fast forward a few weeks later, we have those on. I decided to put the ramp door down. It was 101 outside. I put the ramp door down, took all the Reflectix out, and put all the ACs at about 60 degrees and I left for 4 hours. Took the dog somewhere, just wanted to come back. It was 65 degrees in the rig when I got back. So they push more, like that traditional 20 degrees from outside thing that the Colemans have. It definitely pushes more and it keeps it cold. And the power consumption, at least from the RV side, now this is all through that Victron Serbo GX, so don't go exactly on the numbers, but at max consumption, at least what I thought it was blowing, it only used about 900 watts. Now, it can't control heat at all, but we left our thermostat from the Air Excel one so that it would control our furnace. So,
I was just going to say regarding the heat pump, though, we were in Kansas City. It was 19 degrees or whatever night. It's doing fine here. It's in that minute.
Cold weather. I was talking to a RV tech and a builder. Actually, it was Lux. We were talking to them about some options and what to do and how to build one. And there was something that came up on the mini splits that I'd never thought of, and that's that the mini splits are traditionally designed to be in your home, not in an RV. An RV is bouncing down the road. It's an earthquake going down the road, and it never stops shaking. And the mini splits, from what I have been told, are not built to absorb the harmonics as it's bouncing down the road in an RV, and that they were having problems with that and warranty problems with that, and it was hard to get people out to work on them because the people that were working on the mini splits didn't want to go to work on a trailer that had the mini split because they didn't understand it, and it was just something that was different. So I don't know if they've started designing mini splits for RVs. I think it's a great idea. I would love to see it. I would love to have it. Anna and I have talked about it. But I think there's a little extra work that needs to go in it to make it more reliable and more suitable for the vibration of the RV travel.
Well, and Todd, where do you guys have yours mounted? Is it like on a sidewall somewhere?
Well, the problem is we're custom, so it's not apples to oranges, right? They do now make a mini split that can sit towards the front, or they can do adaptive. They do have that now. Ours is actually New Horizon mounts it on the side, so it ducks out. That's what they do for a spacecraft as well. So it's easy when you're doing custom stuff, but to retrofit into a current DRV or whatever, they do have now kits that can work. It's pros and cons, anything we're doing in the RV space, right? So I don't know if it's the end-all to be-all for everything, but it's so much better and efficient for AC stuff. So
the latest rumor we heard was that Lippert is currently working. Yeah. But the latest we heard is that Lippert is actually working on a set right now.
Yeah, we heard that as well. It's kind of in conjunction with the Cube, and then it's a whole thing. So, does anybody have any questions for the panel? Really? There you go.
Let's do it. Go. There's a microphone.
Right over there.
Step on up.
Hello. Okay, so I have an appointment set for Morride to do independent suspension.
Yeah.
And just curious how many of you up there have had that done, and pros and cons.
Well, after we got our rig, it had the standard Dexter 7,000-pound axles. We have a Grand Design 376 THS. It's the big momentum toy hauler, and it had the Dexter 7,000-pound axles. And within a year, I was breaking all the wet bolts. I broke the leaf spring twice. The third axle is just a killer on a toy hauler. You're at low speeds and you're making a turn or you're backing up. The tires don't really roll, they just drag. So you're always breaking stuff back there, and it was just a constant problem. So I called Moride right away, and I made an appointment to take it in because I really didn't see that we really had a realistic option. The trailer was just bouncing down the road. It was terrible. It took, 14 months to get it in there to get it done? That was their backup, was 14 months. That was a couple of years ago. And it's just win-win. I just couldn't be happier with it. You hear all the stories, I left something sitting on the counter, right? You think it's a commercial. But, we've really had stuff like that happen. The trailer just floats down the road. It makes a tremendous difference along with the air ride hitch. That's the reason that we think that we've done so well with our momentum. And what? Yeah, we haven't had any problems that you hear about. You hear about all the horror stories with frame flex and all of that. Anna and I have been very fortunate, but we've also made a significant investment in trying to get away from that. And I also try to keep from doing stupid stuff. Doesn't always work. Like I said, had to back up a quarter of a mile. But I try not to drive it in and out of holes, stuff like that. And, of course, that always helps. The trailers can only take so much. But the Moride, straight up all day long, I wouldn't even hesitate. They're worth the money if you're going to stay in your rig, you're going to live in it, you're going to travel the country. It's just win-win. I can't imagine a downside to that.
Did anybody else have it? I know some of you are in drivables, but...
Yeah, we've had it in both our DRVs, and I wouldn't be without it. Similar story. We were on a travel day. Stopped. Kelly went back to use the bathroom, and there's her cup of coffee from that morning still sitting on the bathroom counter. Yeah. Yeah, we wouldn't be without it.
Yeah. Quick question on that, just me. With the Moride, nobody talks about this element, and I just curious. There is a alignment. Yes. You're supposed to do an alignment. Is that once a year, twice a year? I mean, if people are going to do that, that is a component nobody addresses. That it is a. So is that something that's a requirement from Moride?
It's not a requirement, but a lot of it depends on how you drive, how you corner, how much you back up, how tight you are. We have had ours. We typically have ours aligned once every couple years.
There you go.
I was going to say, we had it on our Valor too, and it's just like anything else. Look at your tire tread. Because what will happen is you'll see it start to wear in a different spot, and with the independent suspension, it could be an alignment thing. We have them check it. Well, had them check it. We don't have the rig anymore. But when we went up there for the 12-month, you're supposed to maintain it every 12 months. So we just had them check it anyway. And then they'd say, oh, you're good, or no, we need to fix something. So
just saying, if you're going to do that, I just want to bring that to attention because nobody ever really talks about that. And I've heard all great things, but it is something for maintenance. Come on, Paul.
And it's a $400 to $500 bill to have it aligned, but it's money well worth it.
Yeah.
Money well spent. Otherwise, you're replacing tires.
And I think it's also important to note, too, that the alignment on a trailer, because they have to hang this huge contraption off of your fifth wheel pin, you can't just take it down to your local truck stop. They can do it, but I don't know how much I would actually, it's just different. And so there's only so many people that Moride have authorized, obviously them. So,
Sorry.
Hi. Paul. Go ahead.
All right, switching gears a little bit here. All you people have been in YouTube for a little while now. For somebody who just wants to start out and do simple videos, not grand productions, what is a good video editing bit of software that doesn't break your bank?
Just real quick, I feel like you called out Jason real quick with that grand editing thing because he's right there.
DaVinci Resolve has a free version, and it's very good. And my niece does. into film and everything, and she was the one who told me, go ahead and get DaVinci. So DaVinci Resolve has a really good free version, give you everything you need.
We use CapCut, and again, they also have a free version. I find it very user-friendly. I'm old school. I don't know a whole lot about computers, and I was able to pretty much master it within, I'd say, about 3 months. So, CapCut.
I'd say too, maybe depending on what type of computer you're using. If you're an Apple person, even the basic iMovie is a really efficient one to get started, and some of their pre-templates can get you going in minutes, just loading your information into iMovie, which is super simple, and you can always make insignificant changes, and you can get it rolling in minutes, and you can almost do it right from your phone nowadays. So,
you know, Paul, if you have an HP, they have movies on there, a program that you can play with to get started. Before I was fired in editing, it worked really well for me, you know, and it was simple to use. And because it was free and it's already on your computer, like she said, if you got you know, a Mac, yeah, do the iMovie. But if you have an HP or a regular, just go ahead and use what they have just to start before your wife fires you. And but we use Filmora now. It was cheap, and it works for us, and we've been using it ever since, and we've been using it now for 4 years.
Anybody
Filmora. Yeah, I think they're at 14 right now, and the hack with that is don't keep on upgrading it. Once you're happy with what you're using, maybe 10, 11, 12. We're at 13 now. We like 13, and we're not upgrading anymore, and we're staying with it. So, because it's once you learn the type of editing programming that you're using, you're probably gonna stay with it until your wife fires you, and then you'll go to another one. So there you go.
Okay.
I also would second, besides iPhone, iPad, and the Mac, when you come to iMovie. And then on top of that, there's also Fusion if you want to go a little bit more powerful on the iPad. One other comment on a previous topic on MoRide. I had MoRide done, definitely agree, fantastic. But if you have them move your Kodiak existing disc brakes over, within 2,000 miles, I had a backing plate come off and spin. And stuck me in Salt Lake City with a vice crap. Oh, by the way, anyone ever have a broken brake line? Your immediate fix is a pair of vice grips to get you home. Yes. But anyway, if anyone's moving existing brakes, definitely make those very nice people in Elkhart double check that, damn it, everything is actually tight. I mean, I love it now that I had to tear it apart and fix it when I got home, but it also, I herniated a disc dealing with that emergency repair in Salt Lake City. So my question really is to you, Todd, relative to your heat pump, because on our Colemans, we don't have heat strips. I'm just wondering if you have a heat strip in your heat pump and if you can see if that's being activated, and that's why you're actually killing your battery so quickly, because you're trying to run it at 19 degrees. The heat pump's not efficient enough, and therefore it's firing up basically a coil inside there to actually try to heat you. If that's what you actually have any setting on the
Not
let
smart
you know?
enough to answer that question. We've had this RV 8 months, and it does things that I've never thought of doing. Like, if you looked at our water filtration system, you'd be like, what is going on there? So I don't know, but it is something I want to talk to Spacecraft about when we go down to see them on this weekend, because I was like, this doesn't make sense to me.
My theory is it has a heat strip because it's probably a residential system, and that's the backup when you get really cold.
Yeah.
My mom in West Virginia.
It is a residential system.
Yeah.
Because if you walk up to it, not only do we have 3 different units, there's a unit downstairs that monitors the temperature of the battery, and it heats and cools to make sure the batteries are at the prime temperature. So it does way more than I probably even comprehend.
Yeah, it most likely has a heat strip, but you can definitely ask them about that because it doesn't want a residential person to have frozen pipes.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
One of the other things the gentleman mentioned, changing his brakes over from maybe drum to disc. Something that I've seen happen, and as a little heads up for everybody out there, if you have drum brakes and you change over to the disc brakes or the Kodiaks, the thing you need to be careful for is that spare tire. Because you're going to be out on the road and you're going to have a flat, and you changed the inner offset of the braking system when you went from drum to disc. And now all at once, that spare tire that's sitting under there, it doesn't have the same offset as the tires that's on your trailer. So pull that spare tire off there, try to bolt it on that new system you have and make sure it works before you need it. Don't ask me how I know.
When you guys publish and do your Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, thank you for allowing us to sit in front of the TV. Because you guys do them all at the same time. Woo! But how about active start, soft start for the air conditioners? Anything on that? I know some people are saying they catch on fire and have issues, so soft start.
We have three soft starts on all 3 air conditioners, and we're really happy with it. We can run 30 amps on 2 ACs all day long, and they'll do just fine. We can't do anything else. Don't try to turn on the TV or a lamp or go into the kitchen and try and get anything done. It's just not going to happen. But the soft starts, they can be a lifesaver on 30 amps if you want to run your ACs. We can run 2 out of the 3. We have to switch our refrigerator over to propane. But, that's a small price to pay for the AC on 30 amps.
Has anybody else got? Oh, there we go.
Make it a good one. All right. Which came first, the chicken? No. Chicken. Chicken. That's right. It's the chicken, no doubt. Oh, my gosh. Chicken came first. I was waiting for that one. I promise you, that was not planned. I walked into that. You're amazing.
Sheila, do you want to come?
You're amazing. No, this guy's, that's scary. I'm scared now. So my question is, I don't know if anybody has a real answer to this, but with Wi-Fi and connectivity, is Starlink the thing? Is there something coming? Is it, I know there's some other options, but what are your thoughts about that?
We have Starlink, and we just absolutely love it. Before, we used to always use the hotspots and on our phones, and that got us by fairly well. But when you need more reliable connectivity, the Starlink just was lightning fast and always connected, and you can have a whole bunch of devices connected to it, and it just never slows down. They have a few different sizes also. They have a little small one that you can actually take backpacking. So our opinion is we just absolutely love Starlink, and it's very reliable for us.
Yeah, we have Starlink, and we tend to have all of them. I think it's just because of what we do. And because we are small and nimble, we do a lot of overnights. And so trying to hook up Starlink in a parking lot or things of that nature just doesn't seem realistic. So we have all of them. But yeah, Starlink is great. The Starlink Mini, we have that too. And what we like about that one is it's always changing. So it may eventually replace all the hotspots that we have. But we've tested throughout the country which ones work best. And at one point we had Verizon, and it was amazing. But then another area, Verizon sucks, and it's like AT&T works best. And then another area, AT&T sucks, and then T-Mobile. So you're kind of going around. And when we first got introduced to Starlink, so we're kind of grandfathered into the original one. So we have access to change our address anywhere, and we don't get OG, baby. OG. But it actually allows us to be able to do that. But the difficult part for that is we can't stop it. So when you have the Mini and the newer versions, which are great, if you're not going to be using it, I think they smartened up where you're not going to pay that extra, $150 a month when you're not using it. You can pause it and then turn it on when you need it. And the fact that they're making them more nimble, where you can put them in backpacks, or you can just pop it outside with a magnet that attaches to these cases. It can replace it. And I agree with you. It's probably one of the best pieces. We've seen them all. Other ones that say they're comparable, but the ones that are comparable that are using each other's system, sort of like what do you call it? Piggybacking, exactly. It still has the same issue if it's not necessarily working in a certain area, or if you do things like the national parks and you're so deep in, there isn't one to piggyback off of. So that's it.
For those of you that went up to Alaska, how was your connectivity with Starlink on the way up?
Almost every place we stopped, we had no issues. You know, and we don't have the built-in system on the rig yet. But anywhere, I had it set up to where it was always connected to the router. I had the wire run into the cable, into the side compartment. And what I would do is I would just grab the dish, put it out, point it in the right direction, connect the other end. And I had it powered through the Bluetti power station instead of the house batteries. And 99% of the time had no issues, no problems. I swear by it. I think it's easy and simple to use, and it's very reliable. So it's just something that I'm comfortable with. So
one advantage actually of Starlink Mini versus the traditional Starlink is really the power usage. Right? If you have a smaller camper van, not as much power, and you do a lot of boondocking, Starlink Mini takes up quite a bit less, almost like half amount of the power that the regular Starlink takes. So that's something that is we're kind of interested in really checking out as well.
They're always adding more and more satellites, so it's getting faster, it's getting better. So we've seen the discouraging where we're like, wow, there's only 5 Starlinks, and then there's like 300, and we're all kind of trying to write off the same Starlinks when they're hovering over us, the satellites. But they're constantly pumping in new satellites up there. I mean, if you get into a dark sky, you love looking at stars like we do. You see that trail, it looks like a centipede of Starlinks flying by, which we initially thought was aliens, but yeah.
It isn't. The Earth's flat, so.
Oh, good night.
Look.
Sheila, do not give him the mic.
Liar. No. But they're always adding, so I think it just makes a really great, useful device for everyone, and it's super affordable.
So
No,
real quick,
and
hang on, Chris, just because we're recording this, I'm going to repeat the question. Did you have any issues? I don't know. I forgot what he asked.
We didn't. The only issue I have with my Starlink is the motor went bad, but they replaced it like that, and they delivered it to a location for me to pick up. But we had it. Not only did we have it, but the couple we went with had it as well, and they didn't say anything. It worked just fine. No issues at all. Yeah, that's true. And we kind of just came out one day. Jacob came over and said, "Did you notice the dishes facing in the other direction?" I was like, "No, I didn't notice." I went over there, and sure enough, because you're so used to pointing it to the north, and it did adjust to the south. So yeah, but other than that, it worked great.
I have a question for everyone. How many women up here drive? And then out here, how many women out here drive? And those that don't drive, what's your reason why you haven't driven, or have you thought about any training?
I don't drive because it scares me. The truck is huge, the rig is huge, and I'm not. And it's just too big for me. It intimidates me far too much.
I don't drive because it scares my husband.
Chris, would you like to elaborate on your feelings on that?
Oh, no. Captain Kirk is not comfortable letting her pilot the Starship. It's not happening.
But he does enjoy when I chauffeur him around, otherwise in the Jeep.
That's the trade-off.
That's the trade-off, yes, that's true.
When we get to our location, you do all the driving.
Don't look at me. I'm kidding. I don't drive because he loves to drive. So I let him drive. I bobtailed it once down the road and back. Backed it in, and I think I cried.
But I will.
I'm sorry. No, it's okay. No. I was scared because I couldn't. It's a semi. It's not a Jeep or a car, And so he's like, "You're doing fine. Keep going." I'm like, "I'm gonna hit something." And it's our friend's place, so I didn't want to break a fence. But I am just like Anna, and I'm scared. So I really have no desire. And I know one day he keeps telling me he's going to throw himself down on the ground while we're driving, and then I'm going to have to do it. Of course, not in a busy area, but I'm like, don't you ever do that to me. But I know I can if I have to. I know how to start it. I know, all the stuff. But I have no desire. It's big.
No. I will say this, though. That's a mistake because you really should, both of you should drive. And we ran into a situation about 2 years ago, and I had to have my gallbladder removed in the middle of the night. She rushed me to the hospital. They flew me over to Colorado Springs, 6 hours away. And we were a day or two from our reservation at the campground ending. And we were going to go to Ouray. And I was in the hospital, so she was going to have to drive. Thankfully, we were able to extend our stay at that campground, and thankfully, we had friends in town who offered to drive the rig. So, really, to be honest with you, I do need to let her get behind the wheel, because if you ever get in that situation, you want your partner to be able to help you out and drive that rig and know how to handle it.
And we always say that it's really, really important, and I know. In particular, we've noticed over the course of several years, there's a lot more folks that have been embracing boondocking, which is why they're adding tons of solar and extra batteries to be able to do more of that off-grid lifestyle. And I think that's where you're really going to have to make sure your spouse knows what they're doing. Because if you're in a situation out there, and we've heard stories, the best thing is you don't want to have to drive wives in situations where you're forced to and you're uncomfortable and you're nervous. So always know. So yes, get on the ground, husbands. Move out the way. Get on the ground. And ladies, pick up the wheel, because you know what? We could do this.
I don't drive.
It's not just their toy.
I've driven, but not the fifth wheel. So driven the Class A in the past, the bumper pull in the past, not just one stretch or whatever. But I think I'm better at navigating and telling them where to go.
She does tell me where to go all the time.
One thing that's... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I am working up to it. I have backed our camper into a site. We did a video on it. And he made me look a lot better than it really happened. It took quite a few tries, but I did it.
Once and done.
And I've driven in campgrounds, so I have driven it. I'm working up to the road, but yeah.
One thing that we found that's really important while we're all out there on the road in traveling, for the most part, we know what state we're in. Maybe we even know what highway we're on. But we don't always know exactly where we're at. And I think it's really important for everybody to learn how to, what they call it, drop a pin. You go onto your phone, you can drop your pin, that's your location, latitude, longitude, all of that. And then you can go for help, and you can call somebody, and you can tell them where you're at, and you can send them that location. So while you're out on the road, if you want to be safe and dot all the I's and cross all the T's, it's really important to learn how to take the time to do stuff like that. So I would really suggest that the people that are out there that are traveling the country, and you get out into these real remote places, learn how to drop a pin. And then you can call somebody if you have something like a Starlink, and you can get out to them, or they can get out to you. I think that's an important deal.
Could be a easy or hard question, depending. But what has been your favorite spot, location, drive, whatever?
I've got to say, we just came back from Vancouver Island, and we took our fifth wheel on Vancouver Island. I think we were just about the biggest thing on there. But I will tell you, we've been to Hawaii, we've been to Mexico, we've been to some Caribbean, Pacific side. The most beautiful beaches you will ever see is in Vancouver Island. And it was absolutely incredible. And if you want to do a bucket list, that would be one, because you will be really surprised on how warm it is actually during the summer. We were there during the fall, and they were surfing and doing all that, and the kids run around in bikinis while we were dressed up like we were in the Arctic. So, but absolutely, it is a tropical island, believe it or not, with a rainforest. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm sorry? Okay, let's not get technical. Okay? I've seen the beach. Okay, so I've been there. We've been to Kauai. We've been to the Big Island. So we just comparing. And so I wouldn't take my rig into Mexico either. So that's only the cop in me. So, but there you go.
I definitely enjoyed Iceland. I think that's a bucket list trip you guys should all experience. It's really easy to navigate. The GPSs are easy. The people are wonderful. The food's delicious. It depends on what time of the year, of course, you want to go. But summer times are great, just as well. The greenery, the waterfalls. And there was a Costco in Reykjavik. Yep. So for first stop, stock it up. And it's a big van life community, or, over there, you don't have to cook on your knees, so you can actually stand in a few. But those are really great bucket lists. And I even think if you can do it and you're not afraid of it, Japan is wonderful. We were actually really surprised at the RV community over there. We have a series on it if you're interested in checking it out. But we did try to learn and try to showcase, you don't have to be afraid to take things across the seas as well, too. But those are great opportunities to look into as well. And it's super easy to navigate. A lot of them speak English. And if you go into certain areas where they don't, there are the translators that are super efficient nowadays. You could even do it right from your phone. We've had conversations with folks in Japanese where I'm speaking in English and it spits out Japanese, and they speak Japanese and it spits out English. And I was like, wow, this is great. So those are great opportunities to not miss as well. And no, you can't take your own rigs over there.
Anybody else got one?
I'm not good at this. My favorite place was Washington, D.C. It was a huge bucket list for me. Growing up, you see it on TV, you learn about it in school, but being there and seeing all of the museums, the young people that are starting their careers and in their outfits and their satchels and it was just the coolest thing for me. And I want to go back, hopefully when it's not so crazy, but sorry. But I know it is. There's always things going on there. But it was just seeing all the monuments and statues, and oh my gosh, it was my happy place there.
Daniel, I think we've been super fortunate. Let's just talking about the United States, right? We've been all to 49. We're still missing Hawaii. Hopefully he'll take me on an anniversary trip or something. Well, but I would say probably some places that in the United States that I think are must check out. They're like shockers to me. Is the UP in Michigan, like stunning, fantastic, beautiful spot. The upstate New York, another beautiful spot, and I think the northwest side of Arkansas is overlooked and underrated. So those would be 3 spots that I would recommend you check out here in the United States. Other than our national parks, obviously.
Anybody else got one? By the way, I've moved, guys. I'm over here. That's what happens. You give me a wireless mic.
Door County. I just thought of it. Door County, Wisconsin. If you could never go up there, unbelievable, just beauty. It was fantastic. So that's another area that you could check out.
And cheese and beer. Okay, we had a question over here. By the way, if you have a question, you just don't want to go up to the mic, if you wave your hand at me, I'll come to you now.
Thanks, Ryan. not to be a Debbie Downer, but we always hear about the great places. Where would you stay away from?
San Francisco. That just was very disheartening. Like we went through there and I was so excited to see the Golden Gate Bridge but that city has it's very sad to me, and I did not feel safe, and that's the only place that we've been in the United States that I was uneasy. I did not feel safe in the downtown of San Francisco. I know there's some Northern Californians here, but you feel the same way. All right.
It's been like that for 50 years.
It was sad.
Was that unsafe with your RV or just unsafe across the board?
I would just say across the board. We did a hop on, hop off bus tour, and it was like, oh, this is great, but we're not getting off the bus to go to or anything. We just looked at it from the bus. It just
Because sometimes that could be either or. Like you might not love where the RV is, and you maybe don't want to leave it there, and then also just the actual unsafe feeling personally.
Well, we usually always drive into places, so we always stay outside of like the big cities and then drive in. So, yeah, that would probably be, and it is sad because it has a lot of beauty and a lot of charm, but it is the first time in all of our travels and all the places that we felt completely uneasy. Now, she's drugged me everywhere if you watched her videos, and I don't like big cities. And believe it or not, I guess a big surprise was a lot of you probably wouldn't go to Portland. But honestly, after being downtown and hanging around and doing all the things, I actually really liked being downtown Portland after a while. So that was a surprise because I didn't know, but San Francisco would go up there. And that's just it. Don't get me started on states, but in general.
I think another one. That wasn't, and we don't like being negative on our channel, so we don't mention the negativity. But Visalia, KOA, you probably shouldn't even say that, but stay away, because when they tell you to lock everything up because things are stolen, that is probably a good sign, and that's supposed to be the gateway to Yosemite. So, and we never put that on our channel because we just don't want to be negative. But yeah, even on the law enforcement side of myself, I was uneasy there. So,
anybody else got one? So if nobody has a question right now, I kind of have a follow-up. I will come to you right in a second, Jill. Do you guys have any tips for, like, how you get that feeling in your gut you shouldn't leave your RV there, or security minus weird dinosaurs running around your RV videos and those types of things? But do you have any kind of tips for, like, when you're traveling in a place, things that you kind of look for on the security level or pay attention to so you know to go or stay, kind of a thing?
We actually had a situation as an overnighter staying in a casino parking lot. And, we thought it was busy. Dave looked up reviews, and we thought it was perfectly fine. And so I always go with the gut instinct feeling. There's, and being up here, you guys know, we get lots of comments from folks that will tell you to stay away from things or don't do things, or they have their bikes stolen, or there's an uptick in this type of crime, and so we have our bikes in the back. So right away when we were off and we're filming, and it was like an abandoned amusement park, and we love that kind of stuff, so it was awesome. And I just got this feeling. I turned around and I saw this old Explorer just slowly rolling by. So always go with your gut. So I just turned around and started filming, just nonchalantly. Oh, look at that tree over there. Filmed the Explorer, just to have a record of it. And then at night, a situation happened that just really set off some red flags. And then I decided, I don't know what made me do it. Maybe God said, get the heck out of there. And I saw the same Ford Explorer hours later, and it's nighttime, slowly perusing the back of the RV. I'm trying to wrap up dinner. Lo and behold, it comes back, and there's a white Sprinter van that was with it tinted out, and I'm watching where they parked, and they parked next to each other. No one got out. We got out up there very quickly. So we had left, and as soon as we hit the highway. So the moral of the story is just know your surroundings no matter what. Go with your gut instinct. Trust the gut no matter what. Even if it's gas, trust the gut.
Anybody else got one? So we only have a few more minutes, so we have time for a couple more questions. So we got one right up there.
Hi, everyone. How are you? I watch all your channels except for 2. I'm kind of a YouTube junkie. You can ask my wife, and that's why she's not here, because she's not a big YouTube fan. But anyway. She loves us. Right? She loves you guys. She really does. And those guys, and those guys, and those guys. But for someone that's interested in starting a YouTube channel, how did you get over the fear of holding a camera and filming all the stuff that you do? How did you get over that initial fear? Or did you ever get over that initial fear?
Real quick, Todd, did you ever have that fear?
Todd never had that fear. Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Todd's always had a camera in his face or in our family or whatever as soon as it was a thing. But I think for me, what changed for me was when I started meeting the community and started meeting you all and realize there's somebody on the other side. So just have the conversation like I'm talking to new friends, right? Like now I'm talking to people that I know, sharing my heart, sharing our story, trying to help somebody. I think so. Just stop looking at it as a camera and just think that I'm sharing this. You're sharing your journey with people who might not be able to get out and go on that journey. They can see the world through your eyes, or they can see things and experience things. So it's not about you as the YouTuber or about you being on camera. It's about what value you can bring the person on the other side.
I 100% agree exactly what you say. It's just about, you're talking to that person on the other side. But editing is a beautiful thing, too. So you know what? You don't have to worry about it. If you say something, you watch it back, and then you go, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or, oh, that didn't come out right. You know what? So that maybe gives you a little freedom when you're talking to the camera. You don't have to worry because it's not live TV, right? So you can go back and you can edit and you can kind of, make it come out right or fix it or cut out the ums and the uhs and all that. So editing is a beautiful thing.
I think the biggest thing is also time. It's going to take you, once you put it in your face the first time, and even if you're speaking to people, I feel like you got to find yourself within that as well and be true to yourself and just put your heart into it. And even if you don't get it right the first few times, and we all have cringy ass videos, sorry. There's a lot of cringy videos where we first started, and that's how I feel. But those are some of the ones I felt like, wow, we were cringy, but it was cool. You can look back at that and see where you are today at this moment, and you'll have that. If you're looking at starting a YouTube channel, a lot of folks initially may have started just for family and friends, but they've changed that game for all of us. So if you're looking at it, you might be looking at it in a different light as well.
Right.
But just still never lose yourself in that, and just be your authentic self, and then just keep watching it back. And the moment you don't do this, then you got it.
We call it humble beginnings, and I think every single one of us, and for purpose, we leave our humble beginnings on our channel. So if you were to go back to our first, it's humble beginnings. Just pick up the camera and just do it, and just put your face in it and just do it. 95% of everything we filmed is on a GoPro or a DJI. They're very cheap, and they've got great cameras now. Just pick it up and just do it.
Yeah, at least for me, my personal story, going through that, seeing how other people dealt with that, and the same thing with our daughter, I drew inspiration from those people, thinking, if they can do what they had to do to get through that, putting that camera on and just talking to that camera seemed like an easy task. And I also think the more you do it, just keep doing it over and over, and then it just becomes natural. You just take that camera out and you just start talking.
So real quick, sorry, we only have about 5 minutes left. Sorry, I'm over here now. I keep moving on y'all. So we're going to go a little more rapid fire. So if you want to finish that off, and then I've got one question over to my right. We're going to come back to you. And then I've got one back here. So if you didn't get a question yet, you should have gotten up earlier. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, just be yourself. We're all up here doing the exact same thing, but we all do it differently. We all have different things to offer. You need to find your strong point and stay with it. And I think you'll probably do really well.
Bit of a how-to question. If you guys could talk about what kind of a rig you're using iPhones? If so, what kind of a holder or mount? And then approximately how many hours of video do you shoot per 1 hour or half-hour video? And how many hours of editing do you take to get to do one? Because it varies a lot. Thank you.
Well, for me, I use primarily several GoPros, and in addition to that, when I'm in a pinch, I'll use my iPhone, which shoots quite well. And we also use a drone and a, what's that camera? A Nikon, bigger camera. But for as far as editing, I spend a whole lot of time on editing. I mean, probably more than I should. And I understand it's about an hour's worth of editing for every minute you get out of it. That's been my experience.
It's also the style of channel or video you're doing. If you're a how-to type channel, it might flow a little bit more fluid than, say, if you're a storytelling, style channel, where it might require you to use a lot of things or drones or 4 different cameras, and it takes a lot of time to edit those. So it's, if you're a talking head style video, or if you're, a podcast video style, they're all different versions of what that means. So whatever your niche would be, that would be where you kind of start to understand the difference between, say, hours worth of time for a 20-minute video versus 20 minutes of time for, an hour video. If it just depends on your style of editing and what you're trying to do with your channel.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. That's true.
Okay. Oh, Todd. Oh, boy. I'm just coming from the beyond now. You going to say something, Todd?
I don't see you. I feel like I'm talking to. Why are you sitting?
This is your, because
You're
I'm
sitting.
I've been standing this whole time. You've been sitting. Don't give me.
Okay, I just didn't see you. So I was smiling at Jason because we had this conversation a long time ago. I think the rule of thumb is exactly what she said. It's usually an hour editing for like 1 minute if you're doing something fancy. If you watch our videos,
You're not fancy.
I'm not fancy. And I want to say this to give you encouragement. General video, when you watch our videos, I edit as 5 hours from start to beginning. That's why we did 3 videos a week, because I looked at it as I want to tell the story, and so I'm chopping stuff out, and I'll throw music on at the end, and they're not great videos, and you guys have told us, you're too shaky. Why don't you get this? Or the audio sucks. You played your music. And I'm like, the video's done. We're going on to a new story now. So I say that to encourage you. If you're going to start, just start. I don't care if it's your cell phone. I don't care if it's a GoPro. I don't care if you shoot an hour video and don't edit it. Just upload it, people. Upload it. Share your story and let people decide. And then along the way, you develop your style. So I say that to encourage. I started doing videos probably longer than anyone on this stage, and I can say that comfortably. 15 years. I did 1,000 videos that most of you don't even know about that have 40 to 50 views on, and I did it because I wanted to share the story, and now I can look back and laugh at how stupid I was, but I do it for legacy. Your grandkids and your grandkids' can see who you were, what you did, and we have the benefit now to share a life-size story for all of our generations to see. And that's why you shoot the video. You don't do it for the strangers all the time. You do it for legacy. I want my grandkids to see where we were, what we did, and how we did it. And that's the most important part. That is the most important part
Well,
of what they're seeing.
I have to end up giving my grandkids something to laugh about in the future.
There you go. Okay, so these are going to be kind of quick. We have 2 more questions, and we are officially at time, so we're going to go through them kind of quick.
Okay, this might be a subject for a future seminar, but what are your guys' feelings about carrying firearms and around as part of your safety security?
I carry every single weapon I possibly can carry. And so I probably shouldn't even do. I think you have to realize you are in your home, and you need to protect your home. So I am a true believer that A concealed weapon permit is for the outside of your home. I'm a believer that when you are in your home, you protect your home with whatever firearm you need, so you should be rolling with your firearm. As far as the law is concerned, as how you have it in your vehicle is a different story. In most places, the ammunition has to be detached from the weapon, and the weapon needs to be locked in your vehicle. In your home, you carry it whatever way you want to carry it, but be safe. Make sure that you always, if you're thinking about getting a firearm in your rig, make sure you do a course, a safety gun course, mandatory. We don't want a bunch of people out there pointing guns at people you don't even know how to use it. And if you're going to point it at something, make sure you're going to destroy it. So that is the best advice I can give you. All states have different laws. Trust me, in California, where I was a deputy sheriff, the way I treat carry in California now is a heck of a lot different than how I would carry in Arizona. How you would carry in New York may be a heck of a lot different on how you would carry in Montana. So make sure you know the laws in your state, because there are some people that just don't believe you should have a gun. But remember, you are in your home. Car's a different story. As a law enforcement officer, I cherish good people who carry guns. Does that make sense? So good people should have guns. Bad people should not have guns.
Perfect. All right.
My question is, outside of YouTube, how many of you all still work a full-time job, and what's your challenges on the road?
I work a full-time job.
Well,
Sorta.
kind of, sorta.
I do work a full-time job, and when I'm not at the office, I'm working either at home or I'm working in the rig. And I multitask. I throw a load of laundry in while I'm editing. That's how I do it. I just try to find the time and squeeze in what I can, where I can.
We're retired, so other than editing, we got it pretty good. So,
we do a lot of work from the road. We're up quite late at night sometimes, trying to take care of things at work, and it's hard to balance travel and fun at the same time, because the people that we're traveling with, a lot of them, they just have tomorrow and all day today. And we don't always have that. Sometimes we get back to the rig and we have dinner. Well, then we have to jump on the computer for an hour or two. And then we get up in the morning and we found out that everybody answered us. And now we got another hour or two. So, it's kind of hard to balance the fun and the work when you're traveling with friends that only understand fun.
So I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were here, that we do some work camping on the road. We are both retired. We have my Social Security and some IRA money, and we figured out that that's not enough to sustain the lifestyle. So we started doing some campground hosting in Michigan, which was our home state, and that worked out really good for us for month stays. Very little requirements to do. In fact, here we're actually volunteering at Karchner Caverns State Park here, and it's a wonderful place and a wonderful place to be. So we're there for 4 months, and that kind of helps supplement. Then we don't have any direct living expenses as far as campgrounds or anything. And then from here, as I mentioned, we're going to Crater Lake in Oregon, and we'll be there for the whole summer. And again, almost free, not free, site for us in exchange for work, but they're going to pay us as well. So we can prime the pump up a little bit and maybe take the next year off.
There you go. All right, well, before you jump up and stretch your legs, do me a favor, quick restroom breaks, and then the health insurance seminar, got it right, is going to start here in just a few minutes. So you got a few minutes and then come on back. But before you leave, thank you so much for your questions, and let's give a round of applause for our panel for hanging out. Thank you, guys.
just keep it going. One more time, round of applause for Ryan, because that is not easy.
Hopefully you enjoyed listening to the panel that we did live. Obviously, there were some breaks and some stuff in there, and not everybody knows how to talk into a microphone as well as people that talk into microphones all day do. And so there were some breaks there. But hopefully you got some entertainment and a little bit of knowledge out of that panel. Thank you so much for listening to the RV Shenanigans podcast. And if you do like the podcast, do us a huge favor. Hit follow on your favorite podcast platform, whether that be actually on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, any of those different things, and do us a favor and share the podcast. Thank you guys so much, and we will chat with you next week.